Yo, what's up, guys? Damnation-n-Hellfire here with NoQuarter episode 8, Bishop's Rock in Progress, take 2. Since, this is originally going to be the Thursday show, but I was deathly ill, so we weren't able to do that. So today we're going to try it again. We're actually here, so we're making much better progress than we did for the last one. So I got, of course, me, the wonderful Damnation-n-Hellfire, the greatest guy on the face of the planet. And then we got Toxic.
G'day everyone, how are we going?
We got Ross Crow, who likes to think he's the most gorgeous man on the face of the planet.
Good evening, everyone.
We also got Neil with us. What's up, Neil?
I'm here.
And Chester. What's going on, Chester?
Not much.
Cool. So, rumor has it there's a raid going on. Can anybody confirm or deny this rumor?
Indeed. It's full blown right in the middle of it, so it's going.
How's it going for everybody? Ross, we'll start with you.
It's going very well for me. I'm just at, let's see, I'm actually at 382 million. So I've done already surpassed anything I need. I'm into the prepping for others mode, so it's going well. I didn't expect to be this far along this early.
So what targets have you mainly been hitting for this raid?
The entire the entire event, I've only hit the well, no, not the whole. Most of the entire event, I've hit the 80 set. I've never hit the tower. The 80s have been really working well for me. I'm using a Highlander nuke cruiser and 4 Buccaneers, and the targets really are set up nicely for me, especially for prepping for others. I like the fact that I can leave docks in them, so that's how I'm feeling. I'm pretty happy on how the raid is working for me personally. I can say that.
Cool. Good deal. Now, for your buck fleet, do you have the flagship too, or no?
No.
Okay, gotcha.
No.
So I'm assuming you're probably picking that up this raid.
No, I have it already, but I won't be building it. No.
Okay. Any particular reason?
Yeah, I've sat and matched my fleet against what other people are getting for times on repair, and
right.
It's very strange through the event. It's been strange. We have the same fleet as another player in my sector, so I'm able to know on how he is doing, and we're hitting the same targets. And I've noticed in the first part of the event, I was doing better than he was as far as repair in each target, not only as far as a set total. And then something changed, in the mechanics along the way, a little tweaking, and he is doing better than I am now.
Gotcha.
So, and that's with the boon. So he is doing better than I am. But for a while, I was doing better than he was. So it's that close of a thing.
Well, see, I found that just building the boon and using it as a medic is probably a good idea, even if you don't necessarily put it in the fleet. Like, if you would just build an empty hull, and then, when your fleet gets damaged, put that empty hull in with the fleet, and then take the fleet into the cargo or something, that boon will heal up all your other Buccaneers, and then that way you have to spend less dock time repairing. And you can just, because the flagship has the better repair coefficiency. So you might even want to, even if you don't fully kill it out, you might want to just think about building the empty hull just for the healing ability.
I think I probably would if I end up with some kind of tokens for it. I will. Yeah.
Cool. Neil, how's your rate going, bud?
Just checked about 190 million. Started out doing a few campaigns, decided it wasn't too cost effective with my bucks and my hydras, so switched over to 80s. Plus, I split up my buck fleet and just auto in 60s. And I run my hydras in the 80s, and you can run a grease monkey and pick up several million in no time, seems like.
Cool, cool. Now, you guys who are like just, auto in the 80s, have you noticed that like sometimes you'll have like a vast varying amount of difference in the amount of damage that you take? Like I noticed sometimes I could auto an 81 and I'd take like 5 minutes damage, and then next 81 I'd auto. I'm like, holy hell, I just took 30 minutes damage. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, I noticed that even in the 60s that I split my fleet up in auto 60s. Once in a while, I'll get 1 or 2 minutes damage, and the next time I'll get 27 seconds damage. It's weird as crap, and it sticks in sometimes. Once in a while, it'll find a corner and hang there, and you'll take an excessive amount of damage on that too. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't really had the problem with mine getting stuck at all. It's just like I said, every now and then it's just like I've noticed it in I've done the couple of the Buccaneer campaign turret tower thing too, and you'll be going fine, and you'll be going, and and then all of a sudden you just like a third of like a quarter of your fleet just dies, like nothing, that you don't even see what did it. And then you continue on the rest of the target just like normal. It's just every now and then, it's just like, bam, all this damage comes from nowhere. And you're like, what the hell?
I had the same problem in the campaign for the Buccaneers. I was doing them pretty well. And every once in a while, I'd go in there, and I would just run up against the group of turrets in the middle, and just boom, that fleet was dead.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Chester, how's your raid going?
I'm at about 300 and something, right behind Ross in points, helping out some of the lower in our alliance right now. I have been having the same issue with catching my fleet being stuck in one corner, taking a hell of a lot of damage that it shouldn't be taking. And
yeah, I was gonna say that is definitely one of the bigger complaints I've been hearing about. The autoing seems to be off in some of the targets, and it's not even necessarily all the time. It's just sometimes.
And sometimes I can go in and have less than 5 minutes. The next time I'll come out and I'll have 16 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding too. So it was hard to. It's hard to compare. I was trying to compare against my Highlander against the Boon, and we both have such up and down stats, each, and I compare against quite a few to see, I don't just hit one target and call it good, and so the 81s, you go up and down in variance, the 83s, the 85, they all were going up and down, and sometimes you're doing really well, way under. Instant repair, even in the minute area, minute one, I was getting a couple minute 30 seconds repair total, and then all of a sudden it'd go to 11 or 12 or something. It's just so it's been hard as far as that goes. So that randomness of damage, it's there.
Yeah, I found that to be the most frustrating thing myself this raid is the lack of consistency when it comes to damage. It's like you said, all over the freaking. Honestly though, other than that, I personally think it's been a pretty good raid. I hear somebody's peaches in the background. Toxic, how's your raid going? Chester, I'm gonna be here for a minute just so your dogs don't come through anymore.
Yeah, my rate's not too bad. Can't complain. Doing A sets with my bucks, and I've got exactly the same problem as you guys. You go into one target, you get bugger all, and the next time you do that target, it's the damage has changed. I don't fully auto. I actually go in and see what my buck's up to. And when they do
you gotta go in and see what the buck's up, huh?
Yeah. You never know. They're always up to something, those bucks. And if they are up to something, I'll just put them on their righteous path. So, and still you get damage. It doesn't matter. I mean, I could swear that I was in an 83 and I've killed everything, and I turned around the horn and I got damaged, and there was nothing. There was nothing. There was no turrets in the area. There was nothing. All the buildings were killed, and I could swear that my damage bar went down.
Magical
Yeah.
plasma.
Yeah, but all in all, cannot complain. It's a bit boring after a while, but cannot complain. It's doable. You can do the raid with ironclads. You can do it with bucks. Like I said, I'm doing the A sets with I got a set of bucks and a boon at the front, and I'll usually do a set and then I go back in and repair. Also, to drop off the res, I'm full on res. So the targets are now paying res again like they used to. That's a good thing. So you can actually build things and the new turrets that have come out and do some little tweaks here and there and whatnot. So that's a good thing.
Assuming that you stocked up on base parts and titanium and uranium before the raid, that is.
Yeah, just like you mentioned that we should. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got sick and didn't have a chance to do any of it. That was probably, that sucked. It's like you give everybody the advice, okay, go do this before the raid, and then you yourself don't get to do it. It's like, damn it.
Yeah, it happens. Nothing you can do, man. You don't plan on getting sick.
So,
but yeah, all in all, it's been an enjoyable ride, I think. Yeah, I'm still not finished. I still try to get a few more things, and yeah, all good.
So it sounds like out of everybody here on the panel, I'm the only one who's actually using hydras more than I'm using bucks. I've been doing mostly the tower campaign for the hydras. I've been doing it with exactly 2 boats. I have a Buccaneers, the Blood Hydra. It's set up as a countermeasure ship with the Mercy CIC on it, and then I have the just a regular Hydra that's set up with the one that gives you the extra 5 range and the additional wall and building damage. And I've been going in and I've been driving that particular campaign, and I've been doing it for probably like anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes usually, with just those 2 boats. So I've been pretty happy about that, actually. So you end up like you go hit a target, you get your 3 million points or whatever, and then you sit around and wait for like 30 minutes, watch some TV, and then go back out and do it again. And I've been actually having a pretty good amount of success with that, just those 2 boats, and I've been pretty happy by it.
2 boats is amazing. You're doing great.
Yeah. I mean, I was really surprised and shocked that I was able to do it with just 2 boats. And then, and then at the end, you just go, you hit yourself a little level 40 cargo or whatever, and that heals up your main base hitting boat from the CIC, whatever damage it had on it as far as it can get it. And then you just take it back in the base and repair it that way. Yeah, I personally think that was probably like the easiest target out of this whole raid myself.
That's what they're agreeing in comms here too, or in
right.
chat.
It all really depends. Like on the Hydra, I don't know, but on the Buccaneers, it depends how you built your Buccaneers. If you run LA3, then you can do the S-set. If you run CL3, then it's going to be costly to do the S-set. So it just depends how you set them up.
Yeah, I know whenever I do the campaign with my bucks, I have the CL3 on mine, and I end up taking like crazy amount of damage, like 3.5 hours or something. And it's like, so like I'll build up a couple of the Hydra targets, and then I'll go and auto the Buccaneer one and let it repair for 3 hours. But like I'm getting like 7.5 million points then when I end up completing that, because you get the completion bonus and the bonus for your target. So it's like sure, why not? It's not doing anything else during that time anyway. Let's pick apart the targets just a little bit, just to reiterate some of the stuff that's in there and what it does for people who don't know. And plus, you know, I spent a lot of time doing these slides Thursday, and I didn't get to use them, so I'm gonna fucking use some of them today. That's all I'm saying. So here's the different types of turrets and emitters. You got the fire archer turret. You know, it's the one that kind of looks like the hyenas that we have in our base. That is the one that can be countermeasured by sprints, not phalanxes, but sprints. You know, and then over here you got the Legion Inferno launcher that kind of looks like the Cannibal Wendigo that we have in our base. I think, I think anyway. That's the one that can be countered by phalanxes. So there you go. Imagine that radioactive damage that can be countermeasured. Oh my gosh, what a terrible thing, right? Yeah, because anytime I can countermeasure damage, I'm very upset about that. Then you got the what has become the bane of my existence, the burn emitters. They're the ones that have like the little bowies that have like the little flames on top of them. They just deal flat damage to you until you kill them. So, and then you have the offense emitters that they buff the turrets that are within their radius. And then, of course, you have the defense emitters that buff the defenses of any of the turrets and buildings around them. So that's basically the components that make up the inside, the main components of make up the inside of the target that you have to worry about. Of course, you got the two regular, you know, the short range cannon and the long range cannon, but they're pretty straightforward and standard. Nothing special really about them. So, what do you guys hate the most out of these five things? Which is the bane of your guys' existence?
Mine's the burn ones. I don't like the burn ones either.
Yeah, you're right there with me. Ross?
My problem's the fire archer. I'm not set up with the sprints, so that's my problem.
Gotcha. Toxic?
Yeah, the fire archer is probably the one that I mostly dislike.
What about you, Chester? You're probably gonna have to take yourself off mute because I had to put you on mute while your dogs were barking.
Okay, maybe he doesn't know how.
Here, I'll take you off mute. Oh, I can't take you off mute. You have to take yourself off mute. All right, well, we'll come back to you.
We
want to talk a little bit about the Inferno Dragon. That's our big top prize for this raid. So let's see. Of course, it's a rocket hull that comes with 50% rocket reload, 55% rocket range, 75% explosive damage, building damage of 150%, wall damage of 350%. So seems pretty good on those stats. Ship deflection 1500, structure deflection 2000. Remote targeting evade up to 95%. So that seems to be telling me that somewhere in some target, somewhere along the way, we're going to be getting shot at by boats that have remote targeting. You got your explosive and penetrating defense of 75%. Combat speed of 35, turn speed of 32, map speed of 45. Repair duration, 2 hours and 55 minutes. Boo. Cargo, 8 million tons. You got 6 special slots, 5 armor slots, which is usually anymore. We've only had like 4 armor slots, so we actually go back up to 5 on this one. And then you got 8 weapon slots. Build time for a blank hull on this is actually pretty freaking amazing. It's like, what, 2 days, 2 hours or something like that, if I recall?
Yeah, it's very little, very little.
It's got a duplicate aura clap of 5. I don't know if you guys have seen the aura cap for this thing yet or not, but it's badass looking. It's badass looking. It's okay. You know how the fangs had that big aura around them that was like a shadow looking thing? Well, this one, of course, obviously is more like a fire looking effect in that ring, and it's pretty awesome. I really like the way it ends up looking. But yeah, it does give off a hostile effect, and with a range of 95, that does 2,000 explosive damage a second. And then it reduces their ability to put out explosive damage and penetrative damage by 10%. So seems pretty cool. I really love the way this whole looks. So huge kudos to the art department on the way this thing ended up coming out looking. I think it ends up looking great. What do you guys think about it?
I agree. I mean, I think the whole artistically is the top in the for the for at least a year with this fire ring on the water it's pretty cool looking. I mean, it sets itself off too. It's not a mild feature. It's pretty shockingly eye catching. It's nice. The hull itself looks great. The hull itself performs really well as far as you driving it and just maneuverability on the screen with the turn speed, the combat speed of what it has. It handles really well. The power of the rocket is great. So I think that this is a really, I don't have anything bad to say other than the repair duration, and that's it. In all honesty, and for me, not to complain about PvE hull is amazing. So this is a win-win to me.
That's isn't that against your religion not to complain about a PvE hull?
I know I'm just looking. I haven't used it in any practical application, so I can say that. But I'm looking at these stats and I do have one already. It's blank, so I know how it drives, like on the water and in certain the targets, and it does really well. So it is something else that you seldom hear from me.
Toxic. What do you think? Looking at it?
Yeah, I've got one built, but I haven't had it out on the water yet because I've only got a thud 1 on it, and I don't know whether it's going to kill anything, or whether I'm going to be stuck in a 17 target for 2 days trying to kill it. So I haven't actually seen it yet, but I'm hoping it will. I'm hoping it'll be awesome because I've seen a picture of that ring, of that fire ring that it emits, and it looks really good.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, without a doubt, like I don't care if the hull itself is just absolute garbage. It looks awesome. You know what I mean? I'm like, exactly, oh, I gotta have a fleet of these just because they look cool. With, like regardless of what it ends up, or how it ends up performing.
Yeah, no, I cannot wait to hit a 115 with just one of them, just to see how it goes. So.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think you'd have to worry about being in the cargo for like forever, just because you get them inside that ring and you're dealing 2,000 explosive damage a second. So you'd be killing just with the inherent ability that the hull has.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What do you think, Neil?
I got one, another one in the oven. It's pretty to look at. I don't know how it's going to perform, but it's pretty.
And Chester, I see you're actually back now. What do you think about this whole looking at the stats?
I think it's going to be a fun little guy. I'm got an hour left on one of my ships, and I will be starting up building them. I hopefully have all of them done by next week.
It's I'll be interested to see what the targets that this has to hit, what they end up looking like. I think that'll have a lot to determine how good and how effective the hull ends up being. When they bring out this new FM target, we get a look at it, because it can look like the most amazing hull on the world on paper until you see the target, and then you're like, oh well, yeah, you could give me a nuclear warhead going against this target, it wouldn't do very good. So, but I looking at the stats, I think I want to see this thing run through 115s, because I think that'll be funny to watch and funny to laugh at when the 115 just like totally disappears, when you're running through it. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it is in effect. But yeah, the stats look really good, and the art is really good. And just get it for the artwork, if nothing else, and just run around the map with it. Be like, oh, I'm a dragon.
I mean, I know they're going to change the targets, but it'll be interesting to see if it can actually outrange that that long range glacial or whatever it is.
My,
There.
you know, my personal just a guess, right? Is this, you know, being the type of target it's gonna, I mean, or type of hull it's gonna be. I think that they'll, you know, my guess on a target will be that we're gonna get a type of a hard target. It's gonna have a little bit of a change to it, but I think it will be. I think the hull will, you know, looking at the stat wise, it should do really well. But I think the target, you know, might have its difficult areas, you know, and that's what I'm hoping for. So one, I personally myself will be watching to, you know, to looking forward to the paths people, the new paths people learn and that thing, because we always got to remember that when all new targets are released that first day, everybody, not everyone, but the majority of players are, oh, these are horrible. They suck. You know, they're not doable. And then we find a way. So yeah, I think I am looking forward to a new target. As far as looking forward to the first day of the release of the new target, no, no. But yeah, I'd love to see these in the old targets.
And the good part about that is you know, they've at least agreed to leave us some old targets and to be able to fight until we get acclimated to all the new stuff.
Right. Right. I mean, that's what I saw on the forums, at least. That
yeah,
we'll have the old targets. So, heck yeah.
Well, I think NoFovos in chat there just summed up the best way that I personally think about it. I do not want to see icebreaker drama with this hull, where you build it and then you have to rebuild it and then you have to scrap it and then you rebuild it again, and then after you finally get it zoned in, they change the target and it doesn't work for shit anyway. I'd like to avoid that whole cycle at all if possible this time around. So please keep that in mind.
Yeah. That was quite the debacle.
Yeah, it certainly was. It certainly was. And then, of course, we got the twin fire rockets to go with it. You know, it's a projectile speed 375, splash 15, spread 150, range of 68, 25,750 damage, salvo 5, reload time of 4, 51,500 wall damage, and 32,187 building damage. And then, if you put it on a hull that has Dragon's Breath, hint, hint, what hull would that be? Oh, possibly the Inferno Dragon. You get a secondary weapon with a 5% trigger chance. And it's also a rocket type of weapon, and projectile speed of this one is 750 with 15 splash, 25 spread, range of 68, 42,000 flat damage with a reload time of 0.5, 168,000 wall damage, and 84,000 building damage. Pretty freaking impressive, in my opinion, when you put it on something with the Dragon's Breath. Although I'll be honest, I put some of these on my icebreakers because it actually upped my building damage for my icebreakers. It opened up some weapon slots, so I was able to put another countermeasure on them. So I'm really, for once in my life, I'm really anxious for the FM to come around just so I can try some of these new toys and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly the same here. Not looking forward to it, but I can't wait. That's
I mean, I've spent the past like 2 months being like, oh my god, it's FM time again. But like, yeah, I'm actually this week I'm actually like ready. It's like, okay, Raid, be over. I want to go try my new toys in the FM.
And the good part of that is you probably got 100 build tokens for your icebreakers.
Oh yeah. I mean, I did the refits already, and I spent like, I think it was only 2 days per ship, so I spent 8 regular build tokens for icebreakers, and I still got 20 left. So, but yeah, I think the new rockets are pretty kick-ass looking. I don't know, the engine I'm not all that thrilled about. I mean, if reload is going to be an issue for you, it does have 50% reload built in. But then, you know, you're going to be losing a fair amount of combat speed and whatnot as opposed to like Speed System 6. So, I mean, I guess if you're running into a reload problem, yes, it might be good for you. But I'm not all that impressed by it. I don't know what you guys think.
No, not at all. You can even run it with a thruster if you want it. You can have 235% turn speed.
Oh well, there you go. That would be one cool thing. You could like turn around on a literal pinhead with it.
But you gain that. I'm sorry, Russ. You do gain that extra evade bonus if you use it. If you were to use a thruster, so.
Yeah, I went ahead and used it because I'm just not a great PvE builder right off the bat, and I'm just going to try it, you know. I don't know how much the combat speed will matter, and that's just because I don't know the target. So I'm trying it out, you know, just on the first one. So we'll see on.
Well, I know historically with rocket hulls, speed has always been essential. That way you can like speed by turrets as you drive by them, taking less damage. So with this doing less combat speed, I'm not sure how much I like that aspect of it. Plus, like 39% for your total weight is like that's a chubby little guy, you know.
Yes,
But it's got a huge range for a rocket. So, I mean, some people say you can you know it's got to be a rush hull, and then others say, well, it's with a huge range, it can be a spotter or something, you know. So it depends how you're going to build it, I reckon.
Well, and it's more than how you're going to build it. It depends on what the target looks like. Because, if you end up having cold snaps that end up like, oh, yes, this has 105 range, but if the cold snaps end up having 112 range, that 105 range don't mean dick.
Exactly right, yeah.
Yeah, so. But I myself not overly impressed by this. It could have other uses, though. Like, I can see it possibly being useful for maybe like a mortar hull, where reload, you know, you're having a much harder time reaching that reload cap, maybe. I don't know. There's might be other things that it's useful for. In my personal opinion, not the greatest choice for the Dragon Inferno myself. I don't know. Is anybody doing anything with the Chameleon? Plan on doing anything with the Chameleon? You're going to build an expedition fleet?
Got it, but not going to use it.
Nope. Got it. No, won't use it.
Same boat. I have it, but I won't be using it.
Unless we come up with something that we can use it as countermeasures in FM targets, and it works better than what we got, or it works with the Inferno Dragons. I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's this one has, unless I'm totally missing it, just like like Chameleons have no built-in countermeasures, right? Like none whatsoever. Which, on all honesty, at the end of the day, that was the only thing that made the Zelos as good as what it was the built-in countermeasure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I would say anybody who does expeditions a lot or wants to do expeditions, you could definitely build a fleet of these because, you know, they're coming out with if you use a generalist fleet to do expeditions, you get a big buff on what you bring back. So, and going forward with only having to do one hull per cycle, which we're going to talk about here later, you might actually have some time to build a generalist fleet. So at this point in time, I'm not going to say, no, I'm never going to build it, but I will say it's not on my immediate radar.
Well, it also depends on if you're going to be doing expedition or not. I find it a hell of a lot cheaper and a hell of a lot faster to go out and get my resources than it is to do expedition.
Well, right, and that's what I said. You know, this for anybody who does do expeditions or was looking into doing expeditions, this would be something maybe they might want to think about.
Well, maybe little players can use it. I don't know. Look, I haven't looked into it because I haven't got either of them, the flagship or the normal one. But if you got the Zelos and if you only got 1 or 2 Zelos built, then it might be a good idea to put a couple of those on, and you might be able to do your FM with it. You definitely will be able to hit 115s with it, and they did say that the targets weren't going to go; they were just going to, there's going to be another target on top of it. So it might be a viable fleet for your FM for smaller and mid-level players.
And I totally agree with people in chat saying expeditions is a waste of time, but there are people out there that do it, and this could be something that they would. I myself don't do them. I agree. I totally think they're a waste of time. I can go out and hit one titanium target in 5 minutes than what they want me to take 2 days to fucking sail out and come back with. But there are people out there who during their downtime and they're like, well, my fleet's not doing anything else. I might as well send it out to do this. So in that point in case and scenario, a fleet like this might be good for them. But as far as for little people, like being able to use, I don't like, because at 20 million points price tag for this Chameleon CM Prime or CR Prime, I don't know that that's something that a little person could achieve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, mid-level player, you can help in this, right? Like that you can be prepping stuff for small and mid-level players so that they all have to do is just kill one building. If you're in a good alliance that does help their little players, or their smaller players, I should say, then it might be something that you want to do. If you are, like you said, like to do the expeditions, well, that's the hull for you, I guess. I mean, different horses for different courses. I always say
it's almost a 10-day build, just with nothing but a third. So it's fairly long builds, and then when you got you got 20 slots plus a CIC in there.
I mean, my only thing is, like, I would just think with the Chameleon price cost coming in right around the same, I think, is what the buck point cost is, that if you're going to get that many points, you'd be silly not to take the buck instead of the Chameleon, is my personal opinion. But, whatever, different people like different things, and that's what makes the game fun, is because if we all did the same freaking thing, we'd all know how to beat everything, and the game would be pretty boring.
I like the artwork, though. I wanted to mention that, though. Look at the hull. I think it's really nice. The art department did really well in that, because they don't have anything to do with the functionality of the hull itself, but the art, they do the artwork, and it's pretty sharp. I like it.
Oh, let's talk about the Executioner 2. This has lots of people buzzing. So it is our new base missile. It consumes 14,000 power. Of course, it's a missile, does penetrating damage. Who'd have thunk it? Projectile speed is 110, which seems pretty slow for projectile speed, in my opinion. Accuracy of 100. Range 25 to 146. Damage 374,766. And that's split up into 2 salvos with a reload time of 9.5. Of course, you have your 100% penetrative bypass. And you get a cool little thing for each one you get a penetrative damage buff of 25% up to a cap of 8 of them. Now, currently, we can only redeem 2, but apparently in the future, we will be able to redeem up to 8. So that will be interesting. Toxic, I know you, for one, have like one of these in your base already, and you've already, tinkered with numbers and everything. What'd you say you got it up to? 1.1 million damage?
I got it to 1.1 million, and I think it was 87,000 damage, or just under 1.1 million, yeah.
That was with Legion faction, right? Isn't Legion the one that does the missile buff?
Yes. I swapped over for that just because of the rocket, just to see how it goes. And I had to. It was basically every special had to come off that turret to fit onto that new one, and that's as high as I got it. And then, being old and senile, I didn't press the build button. I pressed the click the window away button, and it didn't build, and I got hit, and I didn't quite make it. But I'm very interested to see how it would go if it's fully loaded. I mean. It's an awesome turret. Like you said, the projectiles fly very, very slowly. They're slower than the mortars on a bus. But yeah, I mean, I had three of the what do you call a new hulls?
Onslaughts.
Onslaught. I got 3 onslaughts come in, and I've almost killed them. I've killed one, and I had the other 2 90s. So it was a good hit. It was a good hit. I enjoyed it, and I just have to learn from it now. And I've got it building now, so see what happens next time.
Now, didn't you say on the text part of the blueprint it does say something about the missiles cannot be shot down?
Yes, it does say. What does it say? Just get it. A fearsome weapon deals significantly more damage than its predecessor, while maintaining the inability to be shot down by countermeasures.
So there you go.
So yeah, and then it says in addition, gains extra damage for each turret within the same group equipped in the base, up to a cap, which is 8.
So I think now, and you guys can tell me what you think, but I personally think that when oh, what am I trying? I can't even speak right now. I think onslaughts are not going to like these. What do you guys think?
Definitely not. Not from what I've seen.
I got smoked with them in already, so I don't know. You know, I have them in, and they didn't seem to help me out. However, I can't tell because I had to go by replay.
Yeah, replays are a bit off. I mean, the guy who hit me, he flattened me. I was done. But in the replay, it shows me killing him. So it's a bit off.
Right. I mean, and so I'll have to just see. It should do really well, I think.
I had a guy refit his onslaughts with a new rocket, and then he wanted to try it. And as soon as he got to my executioners, he went down pretty quick.
Yeah, with these, you know, being able to get up to like 1 million points of damage, and even though that's split by 2 salvos, you're still talking 500,000 per projectile. That's going to be hard for anything to have a deflection number for penetrating right now to match up to that when it comes to onslaughts. Unless, I mean, I guess you could, in theory, switch all your armors over to the compound plates and really jack up your penetrative deflection, but then you'd be suffering in like your corrosive, concussive, and radioactive deflections at that point. So it'll be interesting to see what the I just thought too that like 1 million damage that we were talking about on that missile toxic, that's not counting the 25% buff you'll get then if you put a second one in.
No, that's not on there yet. My second one's not built yet.
That's just crazy. That's just crazy talk.
But we were talking about this before, and I'm not 100% sure how this works, but if I drive into your base, let's just say, with a boat that's got 80%, 90% evade, will that do something to the missile, or will the missile still 100% hit regardless of the evade I've got on my hull?
No, evade is always going to affect anything that's accuracy based.
Okay, so even though it says it's 100%, it can't be shot down. Yeah,
it just means it's 100% if you have 0% evade. Is what it means.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
So I know some people are in chat are saying how priority targeting will work with these, and it does have potential to work good, but it also has priority targeting is like a double-edged sword, because priority targeting can also have a tendency to backfire if people prepare for it, because they can just take one boat that has a lower health total to begin with and just crank up the penetrative deflection on that thing. That way it's drawing all the missile fire, but it's not getting hit at all because they have like, freaking 500,000 penetrative deflection on it. So priority targeting is one of those weird things that can be a really good thing, but if a person knows what they're doing and they plan around it, it can actually be detrimental sometimes. So that's just something to keep in mind. I happened to notice they were talking about that in chat, so I thought I'd throw that out there.
Now, also remember, I don't know how many years back now, a couple of years maybe, we had a was a draconian. I can't think of the name now. The jug. Remember how we put a huge amount of evade on that, and it just used to, walk basis. So maybe there's got something. Maybe there is some way that you can put a whole heap of evade on some sort of a ship and use it as a lead ship or something.
Well, one thing you have to remember back then, though, too, when we were able to do when evade was king, was there wasn't near as much like splash damage and area of effect damage as what's currently in the game.
Yeah.
Everything pretty much back then was like straight on shots. So if you evaded it, you were golden. But there's so much splash in this game right now that going all evade is only going to help with certain things. I really miss the days when evade was king. You just stack your evade as high as you wanted, and you could walk in pretty much anything. But the game changed, and we have to change with it.
Yep, sure do.
Thermobaric Casing 4, that's a 10 million pointer. It gives you projectile speed plus 50% and penetrating damage plus 40%. I know there's currently an issue where this is not stacking with SSKP. I'm not sure that that's intended, and I think that's something that they're looking at. So just something to be aware of. While they're not currently stacking, they could possibly in the future. So just something to be aware of. I think that's just all prizes and stuff. Of course, highlights ship build tokens. Always get as many of those as you can. They're always good. Charged armors, executioner. To me, and this current rate, if you take any kind of pride at all in your base, get yourself the executioners if you can get the point, because they're going to be really good. They're going to be really good. Hydra, Buccaneer, build tokens, structure build tokens. So much PvP crap in this raid, man. Like, so much of it. The Hope is amazing. Of course, with the flail rockets and the flange warheads. Cold Snap rocket turrets. One thing I did happen to notice on the Onslaught was it was not Cold Snap immune, if I recall. So, Cold Snap might be making a comeback, guys. Your range transformer, your lockdown rockets. There you go. Lockdown rockets are back. Like, everybody should be dancing in the streets for lockdown rockets.
And one thing I want to quickly mention is when you open up your raid briefing window and you go to your prize area and then click on lock prizes, you can see 8 prizes there. Now, there is a little slide bar, and if you slide that down, you can actually see that there's a 9th prize, which is the armor. So just be aware of that. You have to slide down that little bar.
Yeah, I spent a good 30 minutes trying to figure out where the hell the new Zethanite explosive armor was. And it's like, oh, it's just where you said it was in the lock thing, and you got to scroll down a little bit. So let's see, what else have we got? Just Boulder Fists, Omni Behemoths, Brennus, just tons of PvP stuff. And then, of course, this was just my little slide I wanted to talk about for the base parts of titanium and uranium that you can spend raid points on. Yeah, fuck that.
It might be worth it if it was the other way around, but yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely pay 10,000 raid points for 2 million titanium. I'd be all over that. So, oh man, I don't know. Like, how many of you guys are actually done with your raid at this point?
I'm done. I have no need to get anything else.
I'll be prepping, I imagine, but I have everything, I think.
I know. Unfortunately for me, I still probably have like a good 80 million points to get. Stupid missing first day. God, that sucks.
Yeah, same here. We got snipers in our sector, so.
Oh yeah, I got a sniper. I got a sniper in my sector too. I just left the sector, as you know, in all honesty, a couple of days ago with my fleet, and I just kept it underneath the drag base in another sector, and just ignored him on comms, and he has no effect. But he sure is catching quite a few people in my sector, that's for sure. But not me.
He's got me about 3 times.
There you go.
Yeah, I guess we did kind of just gloss over that new armor a little bit, didn't we? We didn't really talk much about it. Just hang on, I'm going to pull it up here real quick. It's pretty decent armor. I mean, yeah, it's 10 million points to get the blueprint, but at the same point in time, like the armor itself, each panel you put on gives 500,000 armor points and 37.1% to your explosive defense. So I mean, 500,000 armor points is definitely nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, and if you have got your armors, what do you call not refitted, retrod, it does take on the rank of the retrofit that you currently have for the X armors.
Oh, it is in the foundry already, or the
Yeah.
I mean retrofit lab.
Yes.
That's outstanding. That's good.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's why how you get the 37.1.
Oh yeah, that does kind of make sense, doesn't it?
And it just fits on a level 9 turret with the new weapon and specials and whatnot. So you can fit that on, not just right.
Yeah, I always like when we get new stuff in the retros I already had applied to it. That I like when that happens. Keep that job up because I like it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about?
How about I got some issues with them locking, the armors in the locked store. I wish they wouldn't do that. I really am enjoying the event as far as actually for damage for the amount of points per I'm getting, even on auto, is acceptable to me. But I like the targets as far as being able to prep them. Yeah, all that is fine. I'm even okay with the damage going up and down. That's all fine. But let's try not to lock some of the actually required items in the game. And behind some kind of silly figure that makes it really hard to prep for lower people. I think this radioactive armor is a needed item in the charge, and it's locked so high up there. It's making it hard to help the lower players. Not and I'm not talking low, but that's a pretty high figure just to get to the armor.
Yeah, I mean, I recall that I don't know how many raids ago it was anymore at this point. But we had kind of had a discussion with them that doing that was a really bad idea, and they actually agreed with us and put all the charged armor to where it wasn't locked anymore. And now suddenly we've taken a step backwards and we've gone back to doing that. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. I mean, I will bring it up and I will address it with them. Obviously they're going to do what they're going to do, so I can't make any promises, but I will definitely be bringing that up next time I talk to them, and we'll see what they have to say. I will say, explain yourself, Kicks Eye, and they will laugh at me and say, yeah, whatever, it's our freaking game, play it or don't. But hey, I could try.
Right. But that was it primarily. I think it's going pretty smooth. Of course, we got a little lag. We got some issues when certain times you can tell when the actually just the increased activity on the game, and that's not a kick side, just a kick side response. That's an actual. We can tell as players that the lag increases from honestly from the number of people that are on. So you have to plan accordingly for that. And other than that, it's been a pretty good raid.
One thing I do want to talk about, Joseph over in chat mentioned it, and I actually had meant to talk about it, and I forgot. So thanks for bringing it up, Joseph. They did come out with a PvE plan for 2018. We're still going to be sticking with the same 4-month cycle they had talked about before, but we are going away. There's only going to be one hull for each raid cycle now. No more. Oh my God, I built the wrong hull, and now my game is totally stuffed for the next couple months till I fix that. There's just one hull, and then you will be able to customize it on how it plays. So you can, and I believe they're going to do that through CICs from what I read. So you'll have your basic hull, and it's like, if I want to run this as an auto hull, I'll put this CIC on it, which will, probably give it a little bit higher defenses and that kind of stuff. So you can just auto, or if I want to run it as a skill hull, I'll put this CIC on, which maybe gives it a little bit more range and a little bit more utilitarian buffs as opposed to just flat out defensive buffs. So, and amazing. I thank you, baby Jesus, for listening to what we were saying and getting rid of the 2 hulls for a freaking raid cycle and doing just 1 hull for a raid. I'm loving it. I absolutely adore it. Now, one thing they did say is we will probably not be seeing like as many TLCs for tokens for building the fleet. But that should not be a problem because you only have to build 1 fleet now. There was literally one guy who read this and he said, "Oh my God, we're not getting tokens from the TLCs." I'm like, really? They've cut down the amount of boats you need to have in half, and that's your takeaway from this post? Is you're going to lose TLC, you're going to lose tokens on a hull that you don't even have to build anymore? Good God, man, perspective.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. This is such good news. In all honesty, I think this is keeping some players in the game.
This will probably bring players back to the game.
Yeah, I think it's been a good thing that they put GD Raken, on the helm.
Yeah, oh my God.
I think he's very passionate. I think he plays the game and he's very passionate about it. You can see whenever he's on a show and whatnot. And he actually knows, and he actually, he must like what he's doing, and he knows what he's doing. So kudos to him, and I hope they'll keep him there. I hope they pay him well.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those. I've talked to him quite a few times now at this point, and he gets it. He really gets it. He gets what we as feelers, play. We as players feel. He understands everything. So I don't know. I'm really optimistic and just the things I've seen within the first 2 months of this year even have been such a vast turnaround from what we were getting last year. And I see Carl over there in chat saying we need 2 fleets, 1 for raid and 1 for FM. So you'd prefer we go back to needing 3 fleets? 2 for the raid and 1 for the FM? I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty status quo, actually. So I'm personally, I love this announcement, and I'm extremely happy with it.
I agree. I think it's a great change because I think that's some of the stuff that started driving people away. One of the things that I thought was great was when we started getting tokens to build ships with, but then all of a sudden, we have more hulls to build. So I'll go along with you, Mike. I'd rather have less tokens and less ships to build.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think I actually foresee time becoming available in my shipyard to play around with stuff a little bit that in the past month or so that I've thought, oh, I'd like to spend some time playing around and doing that, but I don't have any shipyard time. So I don't know. I think it's going to be one of the best things that's happened to this game in a long time. And Carl, I understand what you're saying, but the tokens that you're going to be losing are going to be tokens for a fleet that you don't even have to build in the first fucking place now. So you're coming out ahead. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you can't rack your head around that. But I don't know. Yeah, you're losing tokens for a fleet that you don't have to build at all anymore. So instead of like picking up the 18 days of build time for tokens, you got 80 days of shit that you don't even have to build. It seems like a big, huge freaking win in my book.
And I don't think we've ever gotten 80 tokens, you know, or whatever the, you know, the ship build time was. But I don't think we ever got enough tokens to cover a full build, because we had to build 2 hulls.
You could possibly, but by the time you got enough tokens to build your entire fleet for free, the hull wasn't good for anything anymore, except for maybe a TLC or 2.
Yeah, well, you know how I meant that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, now you save 80 days, and you can use the tokens that you would have used on the 80 days, even if they cut 1 or 2 TLCs out. You can use them on the main hull, the only hull you have to build. So it's a win. Doesn't matter which way you look at it.
And then we'll hit the Garrison and Forsaken mission thing real quick, too. Garrison hulls will be released in the second raid of each cycle going forward. They were originally going to do them in the third one, but they decided that they wanted to help alleviate build congestion a little bit and give us more time to balance back and forth between when we work on our raid fleet or on our FM fleet. You're going to have a single new high-level target for the FM the first week after the raid, which will be, you know, I guess that's next Wednesday. We'll see this new big-ass target. They decided to totally get rid of CICs for garrison hulls. They said they are open to changing that in the future, but at this point in time, their plan is to not worry with CICs for garrison hulls. And the old targets are not going to disappear right away, and payouts for the old targets will not change. So your 115s are still going to be around for a good little bit. They're still going to be paying out the same amount of points. My understanding is that prize costs are not going to change hardly at all. And the big target that's worth more points will just make your FM go faster. Now, there is something I do want to caution everybody. And Carl, where I'm getting the 80 days of tokens or whatever, you keep wanting to talk about this, so I'll go back to it again, is we're talking about in the TLCs where you get tokens to build the hulls that you're not even going to have to build that fleet anymore. That's where you're getting all those tokens that we were just talking about, not the FM tokens. We were talking about those hull-specific tokens for the fleet that you're not even going to have to build anymore. Okay, but anyway, back to the Garrison and Forsaken mission thing. So one thing I want to make sure people do not fall in the trap of, you know, they say they're going to be offering retros for, like, you know, the older hulls like icebreakers, monoliths, and stuff like that to make them more prevalent and more usable in the game going forward. Please, for the love of God, do not fall into that trap that has gotten so many people in the position that they're in now, whereas instead of building new shit, you just, oh, well, I'll just retro my old shit so I can keep using the same hull for like the next 3 years, because eventually you're going to get to a point where that hull is not going to be able to do a goddamn thing, and you're going to be right back in the situation that you're currently in now. Please do not fall into that trap. Anybody have anything to say on that? Because that's a big freaking thing on my, like, oh, I hate when part of me almost hates when they say we're going to retrofit this stuff and make it usable longer. Because then people are like, oh, I don't have to build new shit now. I can just make my old shit better.
Yeah, right. No, I think that when the retro stuff for older is for those players that already have the new stuff and they're experimenting. They're believe it or not, there are some players out there that are, you know, they do keep up. And let those people be the experimenters with the old stuff. when I do suggest to all players, even struggling, do try to build the most up to date current fleet you have in your shipyard. You know, in all honesty, don't. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of going back and trying to make things work. It's a temporary bandage. It will work temporarily, but it will get you caught in a cycle, and you'll lose out on those build time where you could have been advancing.
Like, I don't know how many people watching this remember 9-9s who used to play the game and used to be around a lot. When we first met that guy, everybody else was building Apollos. That guy was still trying to figure out a way to make his interceptors work. And I'm like, really, dude? I'm like, stop wasting all this time trying to make your 2-year-old fleet still relevant in the game and just build a new freaking boat, dude. Your game is going to be so much better. And you know, once he got out of that mindset of trying to just use old shit and start using newer shit, his game improved like 100-fold. Like G-Daddy, another great example. Once you finally got G-Daddy to be like, dude, stop using freaking Seawolves for every goddamn thing in the game, you know, his game has improved immensely. So yeah, do not fall in that trap of just trying to reuse your old shit. Build new shit. So yeah. And sorry, Nines and G-Daddy, for calling you guys out there, but you were great examples of the point I was trying to make. And yes, Joseph Samard, this is the dragon, the Inferno Dragon is the new FM hull. That's the reason why we're getting it in the second rate of this current cycle. So yes, whoever told you that was correct. So I don't know. I think that's all I got. Anybody else got anything? Anybody in chat got anything they want to hear about? Bueller.
Just to stick one right back at you here. So you're rebuilding your icebreakers to see if they'll work in the new FM. Is that right?
That is true, but I didn't have to spend any shipyard time at all. I did it all with tokens.
Well, I was going to say that just before you started on that big lecture about old stuff is if you're able to retrofit the icebreakers in the retrofit lab, and then you could get the new armor and put on them and the new weapon. Well, maybe you could use them in the new FM targets, but I'm not sure that would even work. But
and quite honestly, I would still recommend building Inferno Dragons over top of that, because eventually, okay, sure, that worked for this current rate, the FM cycle, but guess what? Eventually, you're going to run out of retrofits for your icebreakers and your monoliths, and they're not going to be able to progress anymore. You're going to be sitting there with your thumb up your ass because you didn't build any of the new shit.
So then, from the information that you're giving us, is that with a new garrison fleet coming out every 4 months, is that right? And a new FM target being changed every 4 months, you better stay up with it.
Very much so. That is definitely my recommendation. Because, you know, while going back and doing retrofits on the icebreakers might get you through this next upcoming FM cycle, who knows about the one that's going to happen in 4 months, you know? So we'll just have to wait and see. We're just going to have to wait and see. But yeah, I always recommend always look forward, never look back.
Right.
If you maybe you're not a coiner or God knows what, you know, and you've got the fleet already. If you got a fleet and you're in the process of building the new fleet, and you've got some tokens from a campaign or from a FM or from wherever, yeah, you know, upgrade your old hull so that you can do the you know, especially the FM better than you could before, but do not don't sit on it. Still build your new hulls so that you can be up to date with it. It's only a band-aid. It's not a fix.
And somebody in chat just said you keep talking about these FM fleets, but they're useless without Zelos tanks. That is absolute 100% not true. I do not have any Zeloses at all in my FM fleet. So whoever says you have to have a Zelos tank for your FM fleet is full of shit. No Phobos as far as a flag for the Inferno. I haven't heard anything yet, but this is Battle Pirates. I'm sure we will get a flag for the Inferno. So I would recommend just holding off and only building 4 at this. If you're one of those guys who wants to rush out and build your fleet right away, just build 4 for now. Because it's Battle Pirates. You know we're going to get a flag. There's like not really much question there. You know, that's why would you even ask that? You know the answer to that before you even ask it. Why would you even ask that?
Right.
Isn't it the only hulls that that we didn't have a flag for are the Conquerors, isn't it?
Well, some of those we even got flags for.
Oh yeah, the old ones, yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's I don't know. I think anybody else got anything else?
I do. Before we go here, we were talking about old things and retroing, and I just wanted to say on live before we go, a happy birthday to Neil here. He's 69 today, and so that's pretty darn old. Happy birthday!
And still playing the stupid game, you know.
That's
it
right.
Doesn't matter which way it's twisted, it'll still be 69.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not going to touch that. I'm just going to let it.
Thank you.
We'll rag on you about that in the after show. All right, so unless chat has any last minute thing they want to throw in here, I think we're done for today. So okay, yeah, I don't see anything in chat. If you had something too late, you missed your spot. All right, guys, we'll talk to you next time. Hopefully, we'll be back on normal Thursday with our regular show next week, and nothing will forestall that unless miracle beyond all miracles, they come out with the update on Tuesday, and then maybe we could actually do a Tuesday show. But I wouldn't hold your freaking breath over that, buddy. Let me tell you. All right, but we'll talk to you next time. Don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, and share this on all your pages out there that we can't get to and don't know about. All right, you guys take care. Have a good one.
See you later.